Hello everyone, thank you for watching my presentation from National Drama. This one's called Inspired by Theatre, Lockdown Devising with Year 9s and is based on a project I started in lockdown and then took into the classroom back at school. I hope you get something from it, and this is one that I'd like you to join in on. So have a pen, have some bits of paper, and I hope you enjoy it. A massive thank you to Chris Thorpe, without whom this wouldn't exist, and to Wonderful's Theatre. I definitely looked online for support and inspiration, and I've put the websites on here, so a massive thank you to them. I won't read out the learning objectives, but I'll shut up for a bit so that you can. Many students hadn't really come across contemporary scripts outside of sort of my classroom, and this was a first for some of them, the idea of a script that looks more like a poem, I suppose. This is a free extract, and you can buy the anthology from Wonderful's, and I would, as well as joining National Drama, I would urge you to do that. It's a brilliant selection of plays, and it's a great sort of inspiration, I suppose, about how you can take things that are happening in your life and that creates a story. Okay, so we're going to do this creativity cards exercise. There are 10 questions, and obviously with your groups and your communities, you can have 3 questions every 10 minutes, you can have 10 questions, 12 questions, 5, you know, it's really open and you can adapt the questions for the people in your group, I think. Don't judge yourself, just write. If you write words from the question, that's a right answer. There is no wrong answer. Think of yourself as a writer and have fun with it. They don't have to be long, they don't have to be short. It's completely up to you what you write down. I'm going to give you about 10 seconds per answer. Number 1, list 3 ways that you greet different groups of friends. Number 2, describe what you really liked about life before March 2020, when you had freedom of movement, when you could travel. What did you really like? Number 3, how did you talk to family and friends when you couldn't be in the same physical space as each other? Finish those up. You can always add more to these answers later, of course. Number 4, describe what you thought was fun, maybe just on one moment, or maybe something that was fun a few times in the lockdown after March 2020. What did you find fun? Okay, have a stretch if you like and shake your hands out. Number 5, halfway through, what did you find irritating about your life before the first lockdown? It can be anything. And number 6, what do you find irritating now? Is it the same thing, or have you changed somehow? 7, what has made you laugh or smile this week in the last 7 days? Number 8, what do you do, think or say when a family member or friend tries to talk in an online conversation but they're still on mute? What do you say, what do you think, or what do you do? Number 9, for you, what is wearing a mask like? And lastly, can you list 3 images that you associate with the last 12 months? Okay, so again, you can share these, you can play with these, you can create dialogue from just these answers, you can use them as starting points, you can create movement sequences from them if you're in the classroom. When we did this, we were not in the classroom, so we shared them and talked about them, and I think in some ways, because they're a very supported way of describing what you would like to describe about our experience, there was a sort of element of sharing our and expressing our experiences that was quite healthy. So in the next lesson, we looked at images as a starting point for making stories, and I asked them to write down a word or phrase or sentence in response to these images. So if you can do that as well, a word in response to this image, or a sentence, what's the boy at the back thinking? Some of you might wear glasses with a mask. I know that's got its particular challenges. What pops into your head when you look at that image? Next one. And number 3. Again, you could do as many or as few. You could even get your groups to bring in images, as a stimulus for this creative activity. Okay. So in the next lesson, I showed them 3 scripts that were the sort of things I thought they might find came from their creative responses. So the images of the children at school, the NHS ideas, the questions about what we were feeling, what our families were feeling, and how we put that together without trying to overthink it. So I won't read them out, but I'll give you a few seconds on each extract. And I didn't want them to really write any more than this themselves, so these were sort of exemplars. So this is the first one, looking at lockdown. And part of what we planned to do was have a go at acting these out when we got back into a classroom situation, and that's still something that we might do. So you can see old Paul it has a narrative sort of framing function, and then there are characters in a traditional way. In this one there are some named characters in ambivalent spaces. In the previous one there were definitely children walking to school, it was a definite place. In this one there's an ensemble and there's some unknown characters. And this was more NHS, test and trace, volunteers, doctors, milestones, that sort of content. And some of the lines here came from interviews and articles that I had read, and I encouraged the students to use things that they'd read and seen about life in lockdown, or in life in lockdown, in their dramas. You know, I said fictionalise it by all means, but if your dad said something about having to work from home, put it in your script. And the wheelchair races was from one of my family members who did the volunteer training. And this is the last one we went through. I then would give them 10 minutes and just say, write. Be creative, write. Be free with your ideas, free writing. Don't worry about how it sounds. There's no wrong answer. Just get down the words for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, give it a title. And then if you want to edit and play with it and develop it, perfect. Read it to somebody, read it with somebody. But most playwrights and writers don't get the play down first time, and I want students to realise it's a process. It isn't finished. So that is a thank you from me. When we went back into school, we had a lovely time. I definitely had a lovely time, and I think most of the students did, in devising scenes and moments and non-naturalistic theatre pieces, and using their scripts and their ideas to make shorts, really, in the drama studio. And they really did reflect our experiences, and hopefully made the students realise they were makers. They had made theatre about our lives in a really topical and creative way, and I hope you really enjoyed that. Thank you very much, and do get in touch.